because we decided, oh, here's a person with mental health issues that has had all these previous arrests. Let's give them freedom. That's not a thing. That doesn't make any sense.
And so as Ana Kasparian continues her journey to being a red-pilled, hesitate to say Republican, we'll just say a red-pilled non-Republican, because I don't think she'll ever be just like a full-blown Republican. I bet she might eventually vote for some Republicans. And I'm curious to know if you guys think that she actually might have voted for Donald Trump in this one. I kind of have a hunch that she did. But there's no way of knowing unless she actually came out and said it, which to my knowledge, she hasn't, because it would be like breaking news, right? But I tend to believe that maybe she did. But in this one, she makes it a point to call out the activist leftists, such as the ACLU, who will fight for criminals with priors and mental disorders who have been let loose in New York to then go on and commit more violent crimes. Even Jink makes a little bit of sense, but only just a little bit, right? Good old Sink over there. Anyways, let's check it out.
And today we have 3 innocent New Yorkers who's going about their lives when a victim of a terrible, terrible assault. 2 lost their lives. 1 is fighting for her life. It is a clear example of the criminal justice system, mental health system that continues to fail New Yorkers.
2 people have been killed and 1 person is in critical condition in the hospital following a string of stabbings across New York City. Now, the suspect, who is in custody, carried out these unprovoked attacks without speaking a single word to his victims. Now, here's more info on the 2 men who died as a result of the knife attacks. The first stabbing on West 19th Street killed a 26-year-old construction worker who was standing by his work site near the Hudson River a little before 8:30 a.m. About 2 hours later, and across the island of Manhattan, a 68-year-old man was attacked while fishing in the East River near East 30th Street. So the suspect then proceeded to travel north near the riverfront and stabbed a 36-year-old woman multiple times near the UN headquarters. Now, she's currently in the hospital in critical condition. Hopefully she will recover, but this is obviously an incredibly tragic story. Now, luckily, the 51-year-old suspect is in police custody. A cab driver actually witnessed him in the middle of his 3rd attack, stabbing that young woman multiple times, and he called the police. The suspect was found with blood on his clothes, and he had 2 kitchen knives in his possession. Now, neither the identity of the attacker or his victims have been released yet, but the suspect, apparently homeless, had been sentenced in a criminal case just a few months ago, the Democratic mayor, Eric Adams, said, without giving further details. The suspect lives at the Bellevue Men's Shelter, and he, in fact, had 8 prior arrests and is believed to have severe mental health issues. So that's what we know about the story. Cenk, I was surprised that Eric Adams held a press conference about this, because unfortunately, this is a common occurrence in Los Angeles, where our mayor, Karen Bass, doesn't seem to find it to be an issue at all, and continues on business as usual with absolutely no solutions, considering some of the deadly stabbings that have happened, especially on public transportation in LA. But it's the same issue again and again and again, right? Individuals who have severe mental health problems, who are neglected, who are allowed to just roam the streets and cause all sorts of, violent acts. They might get, taken into custody for a little while, but then they're just released again, and they have severe mental health issues. They're going to continue doing the same thing unless we respond differently.
Yeah, so I'm curious as to why he was out when he was already sentenced. That's weird. So
before I let Sink continue, I just gotta say, how do you ask this question? You've been fighting on the side of the political aisle that has been releasing people the same day that have been arrested multiple times. This is the side that you've been fighting for, Jink. And Republicans, people who just want to feel safe in their homes, in their own cities and everything, have been asking the same question that you just asked and fighting against the policies and practices that have been enacted for years. I don't know how long, but potentially as far back as, I don't know, maybe even before Donald Trump. But I really feel like it came to the forefront during the summer of love, when people were constantly fighting with police, constantly lighting fires to buildings, even, killing people, even assaulting people. We saw they were being arrested and released the same night, and some people multiple times in the same night. So you can't ask that question now and act clueless. We've been telling you, we've been warning you, we've been pleading with the left to please enact law and order. And you guys have been out there saying we need to defund the police instead. So, all right, I'll let you continue.
Well, I'd love to see more details about that. Are there laws that saying that even if you get sentenced, you should be free to go? Because that defies all sense. But we'll find out. We don't know enough yet. But this goes to a pattern that we've seen a lot. 8 prior arrests, mental health issues. And so, unfortunately, there's 2 sides here that give, in my opinion, nonsensical answers to it. And the sensible middle is completely ignored.
100%,
right?
yeah.
So why doesn't Kara Bass do a press conference about it? Because the activist left would then yell at her and say that she was attacking the unhoused community. But it's not attacking the unhoused community. It's saying, hey, there's a dangerous person. We can't let them attack other innocent citizens. What did the construction worker do when he showed up to work, an average working man? The woman that was killed, what did she do wrong? She didn't do anything wrong. And so that she's a victim of injustice. And not injustice even from this guy, because this guy apparently has mental health issues, right? So, but it's an injustice from the system, because we decided, oh, here's a person with mental health issues that has had all these previous arrests. Let's give them freedom. That's not a thing. That doesn't make any sense.
And mighty convenient that you say that now, while in the past, the left has been saying, we don't need to send police officers to every single 911 call. We need to send social workers, right? We need to de-escalate the situation. Meanwhile, we have a case here that this person was going around stabbing people at random people at random, right? And it's my opinion that these types of behaviors are more prone to happen in the states where people don't just have the freedom to carry their 2A along with them. And it seems to me like these types of cases, these instances, happen more and more in these blue cities where they try to make it really hard on people and even illegal for people to have their 2A rights with them at all times. That's why I believe a lot of these people have been moving out of blue cities to places like Florida and Texas, where they can not only have more freedom just in their daily lives, but also have the ability that was written in our Constitution to protect themselves against the crazy people out there, okay?
Often it leads to the antithesis of freedom, because in this case, I mean, we're talking about someone who killed 2 innocent people and now will likely be in prison for the rest of his life. So how was it better to allow him to just roam the streets and cause this kind of damage, this kind of harm? Like, you talk about the activist left. I actually want to specifically talk about organizations like the ACLU, which, they do good work on other issues, but on the issue of individuals suffering from severe mental illness, they have fought tooth and nail to prevent states, local governments from being able to incapacitate individuals like this guy, because they think that it's a violation of civil liberties, that if someone has a severe mental illness, the state shouldn't force them to be institutionalized against their will. But if someone has a severe mental illness and is unable to make decisions for themselves, how does it make sense to allow them to just roam the streets and potentially kill people because of their condition? That's going to lead to them being in prison for the rest of their lives. How is that better? How is that better?
So that goes to my point, that these issues are complicated and people want to oversimplify them for their own political purposes. So for example, just real quick as the side on the ACLU, I think that they're terrible on this issue. So there is, like, they're saying, oh no, it's their freedom and the civil rights to get killed in the streets, to kill other people in the streets. That's not a civil right, okay? So I think they're terrible on this. They're awesome on freedom of the press issues and freedom of speech issues, right? They're terrible on money in politics. They think money in politics is freedom. That's crazy that the ACLU believes that. So, okay, so that's complicated. On homelessness, so the right wing has, in my lifetime, has had this general philosophy of kick their ass, get them the hell out of there, okay? And that's not the right approach. Why are you kicking the ass with this guy who's mentally ill? How does that help? He doesn't even understand what you're doing to him, right? So it's so irrational. On the other hand, we now have these, and again, all these terms drive me crazy because I say activist left in this context, but I'm an activist and I'm on the left, right? I've been an activist to get money out of politics, to get you higher wages, et cetera, et cetera. But in the cities, there are these super, I don't know, get extreme left. I don't know if they're identitarian left, whatever they are. But the ones that threw a brick at the mayor of San Francisco when she talked about cleaning up the streets a tiny bit in the most rational way, et cetera. They threw a brick at her because apparently violence is the answer, even though they claim to be on the left wing. And for them, they are in this libertarian, in my opinion, la-la land.
Gotta love how Sink tries to frame it there that if you're on the left, you don't throw bricks, which anybody with eyeballs has learned that is definitely something that the left Democratic Party certainly co-signs to. Even Kamala Harris was raising funds for people that set fires in the Summer of Love. But as it relates to New York, where this instance happened, where this mentally disturbed homeless person killed 2, nearly 3 people, you have this discouragement from the government, as we see in the Daniel Penny case. I believe that's his name, Daniel Penny. He's the guy who was defending the innocent woman on the subway when a mentally ill, we'll say, or maybe on drugs, I don't know, homeless person was threatening to hurt everybody around them. And Daniel decided to be proactive and defended the innocent bystanders from this person, and that ended up in an accidental choke. Might have been the cause of the homeless person's death. I think that's still being litigated right now, currently as we speak. But the ironic thing is, Daniel Penny gets thrown in jail, and they release all of these other people. It's clown world that we live in, and it's discouraging because the person that saw that story will now be less inclined to put their self at risk for defending the innocent person, which only results in more innocent people who aren't mentally disturbed. They're just going about their lives, fishing or working, like the 2 of these men that were actually killed. In this case, it affects them more than it affects this mentally disturbed person. So I tend to agree with Zink that maybe these people just need their butts kicked by the court system and treated like the criminals that they actually are, regardless of their mental state. If you break laws, if you damage things, if you hurt people, if you are a threat to society, then you should probably be removed from society through the court system, right? Through the court system, it should be adjudicated legally. I don't believe in like red flag type of laws where a neighbor can just call the police on another neighbor that they're having a dispute over the tree branch that was going over in their yard and they cut the tree down or something like that. And then all of a sudden somebody's getting their guns taken away because, one person lied about the other person. It's basically the slippery slope that the Me Too movement led to, where every guy that was accused of something was basically guilty until proven innocent, and I don't like that. So, if it's adjudicated by law, which should be prioritized within the systems to get these mentally ill people who are threats to society, who are threats to the innocent people in society, put into places like mental institutions or prisons or whatever. But I mean, I still even feel bad for the people in prison that got to be locked up with these folks, because you just never know what's going on in their head. And I have to believe that a lot of this stuff is due to, or at least part of it is due to drug overdoses, or not even necessarily drug overdoses, but long-term use of drugs, harsh drugs, questionable drugs, all of the above, right? And so, if people are out there doing this to themselves, in my opinion, I have a hard time supporting them being put on some type of care of the government or Social Security or anything like that, because, you know, it just hurts the people that have been responsible from within their lives, right? With the path that they've taken. But I don't know, maybe you disagree, and I'm willing to have that debate. So come on the live show, join me Wednesdays and Saturdays at 6 p.m. I'd love to discuss any of these things that I say in my videos that you might disagree with or agree with. Also join the Discord. We're building a little family over there, a little nice community, which we support each other, and there's some content creators and things like that as well in the Discord. So like to see you guys over there. But if not, make sure you catch this next video. You won't want to miss it.